Welcome to Remelations. We're your hosts.
I'm Mindy.
And I'm Brooke. Remelations is a dream interpretation podcast where we read listeners' dreams. From nightmares to the just plain bizarre, join us as we give you our comedic interpretation of your fucked up REM cycle. This week, I've got a dream from Gracie about a giant flying death beetle.
And just wait till Catnaps, because this week we're talking about crotch flies in the bathroom, disgusting milkshakes that make you want to puke, red dice, and creepy bedroom visitors with brown bags of vision.
Crotch flies, no good.
And stay around to the end when I'm talking about this week's topic, the Russian sleep experiment from the 1940s. It's a tough one, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right, Bestie, let's harvest our superpowers together, defeat this giant flying beetle, and let's get started.
Woo!
Okay, let me think of a clever start. Let me think of something really catching to get our Bestie to turn it up.
Mindy,
Hi.
did you just fart?
Thanks. I did. Not.
I can smell it over the screen.
Please. You're the worst.
Well, we had to get started somehow.
Okay, well, at least I'm not sitting there with wet hair.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Mindy did not fart, and I cannot smell it through the screen. But
We don't have smell-o-vision. Hi,
You
we're
can
here.
change that.
I don't care.
Okay, I'm going to have the rest of my milk here.
Well, I started some high noons. I'm like, whatever. I'm home by myself. I don't care.
I will, as soon as this is gone, I
You're
do have
enjoying
some
me?
wine in the house,
Nice.
which I said I don't, but I did get some yesterday, so I will have some.
Whoopsie.
But I
It's funny how
whoops,
it
was an
accidentally
accident.
found its way to my
It
fridge.
fell into my cart when I was shopping online at Target.
Damn. That's, when those buttons are so close together.
They're so close. It's like, have
Add
you
to cart.
purchased this before? I'm like, oh yeah.
Wait, are you
Sure
sure you're not
have.
forgetting this? Like when
That's
like
what
Sam's Club
pops up.
reminds
It's
me.
like,
Yeah.
are you sure?
We
And
know
it's
you
always
want
like
it.
milk, wine, and bread. Those
Yeah.
are my staples.
Always. Mine's like
Cottage
bacon,
cheese.
dog food, and paper towels and toilet paper. Always
Those
need
are-
those.
yeah.
Always add to cart.
Well, my paper towel and toilet paper consumption probably isn't as nearly as bad as
No.
yours.
Not quite.
But I do have a water, a Coke, and milk, and some
You're
wine.
set.
I'm
You will
good.
be hydrated to the nines.
Okay.
All right. You ready to get started?
I'm ready.
Just
I'm
kick
ready.
this off. Okay.
I've got Gracie from Orlando.
All right.
I'm on a deserted island with 20 or 30 other people, and we all receive special abilities. My ability is to produce a crystal that would paralyze people. Now, we
Okay.
didn't get these abilities just to play around. On the island with us is an indestructible and unstoppable flying beetle.
How big is this beetle is my first question.
It's huge. It's a giant
I don't like that
flying
idea.
beetle.
We talking like a Volkswagen bug-sized beetle, or
It's big
like-
enough, Mindy. It's big
Okay,
enough. Probably
okay, I'm
maybe
terrified.
as big as a human, I would say. An adult
Okay.
human.
Yeah, they don't have
maybe
to be
not
that
as big as a car, but
Okay,
I don't know
still
why. This is just how I'm
awful.
seeing it. In my
Sure.
head. She doesn't.
I'm seeing
explain.
like no.
She just
We're
says
just taking
it's
over.
giant.
Giant flying beetle. Okay, well, let's go. We got superpowers.
Yep. Okay. Most of us were in a large summer home type of building in a rando neighborhood. When the first person in this house was found by the beetle, no one thought anything about it. We just thought it was weird this beetle kept showing up around us. Just a few minutes later, this beetle flies in a very fast, straight line like a bullet at someone near me.
Nope.
It passes right through their chest, killing them
I don't like it.
instantly. So that's why I think it's big enough, Mindy. I think
Bullet
it's big enough.
beetles. Do not like that.
I don't like it either.
That's not something you'd expect to
No.
be able to pierce a chest.
No, and could you imagine how fast that thing had to be flying to just go right through?
It's
Oof.
like I just like picture like a cannon-sized hole in the middle of their torso after this.
Oh yeah, it's like the Kool-Aid man ran right through their chest.
But not as delicious.
But no, terrifying, not as friendly. Everyone loses their shit and starts running away as another person is killed by the bug.
Damn.
I run into a small office meeting room with a big glass panel that views the hall.
That doesn't really help when you're in a glass. You're trying to hide in a room that's full of
All
glass.
you're going to be able to do is see what's happening, and you don't want to know.
Even if you crawl under the table there, the Beetle's like, I see you having your meeting in there.
I can fly really fast.
He's like, I had this room reserved. Check
Get out.
the schedule. I'm in the Sequoia room, not you.
The look on the panel outside the door. It will say,
Beetle, 2 o'clock.
Giant flying beetle, 2 o'clock. Oh, I hope it wasn't 2 o'clock. Someone else was already in there, like I said. Doesn't matter.
The schedule's all screwed up.
The schedule's all screwed up. This day is for the birds right now. Feels like a Monday to me.
It definitely is a Monday.
The other person and myself are looking in the hall through the big glass window. We see someone running down the hall trying to escape the beetle. This guy had some kind of ability to control fire and tried burning the bug. The bug, being unfazed, kills him immediately. At this point, there are bodies and blood everywhere. Hey, so what good are these powers if they don't work against the goddamn beetle?
Beetles are one of those like cockroaches. They've been around forever. They've got really hard exteriors. So yeah, that's fire ain't gonna take care of it. But why get the ability? Yeah,
give us something we can work with, right? Mm-hmm. The bug has now noticed me and the other guy in this room. It comes to the window and shatters it. You got that one right, Mindy. You saw that one coming a mile away.
That coming.
The other guy tries to push me in front of him towards the bug. Hello.
Come on.
And leave me behind. Luckily, I remember I have the ability to paralyze people with my
hopefully
crystal.
this one works. Yeah.
I use that to stop him, and I run as he serves as a distraction.
I like it.
Fuck him, I guess.
Right.
I say
Agreed.
fuck him, I guess, as well, because he did it to you first.
Every man and woman for themselves.
It seems that way. And plus, you know what? She used her power against somebody else as opposed to the beetle, and maybe that's what the key was all along.
Maybe.
I run for a while, but finally, I am also killed by the beetle.
Oh, darn.
And then I woke up.
Well, that's
all
unfortunate.
for naught.
Right? All for naught.
Gracie, we thought you used your intelligence wisely, but you can't win them all.
Can't beat a giant flying beetle.
Nope, sure can't. All right, Mindy, before I get into my deeply, deeply thorough analysis of this
Of course.
dream,
You are a Virgo. You cannot shake it.
I cannot shake this. I want to tell our besties out there, and I know you know this, but there are so many ways to support our show, and this keeps us going week after week, bringing you the entertainment and joy of flying beetles and just our camaraderie and our love for you. Please keep submitting those dreams. It's so important to submit your dreams, and you can do that at remelations.com/support. As Mindy said, I don't like it. Check out our I Don't Like It merch. You can get it. What is it? A glass with I Don't Like It on it. Tumblers.
You can get t-shirts.
So much merch out there. It's fantastic. And best of all, join our sleepover squad. And you get extra footage and you get extra episodes and
behind the scenes videos of our faces.
Videos. All of us. You get to see us, like Mindy said. I have wet hair. It's fine.
It's great.
Take a peek.
We love her
Join.
anyways.
Yes, everyone's invited. All
okay,
right.
Brooke. Well, thank you. Yeah, where are we starting? Because I don't like the beetle. I don't know what beetles mean. I don't know what superpower
beetles
means.
meant either until I looked this up. And it varies, as it always does, depending on the dreamer, but also varies kind of among cultures. But we'll get to that. Let's first start with this deserted island, because that's where it all started. So dreaming of being stranded on an island can symbolize feelings of isolation, disconnectedness, or just overwhelming challenges. And also, like, a desert island represents also the uninhabited parts of your mind that need to be explored.
Desert island or deserted island?
Both. What did she say?
Wait, a
Deserted, but it could be a desert island too.
Those, like, made of desert?
Well, sand.
Are those two different things, right?
Sand.
Okay, I'm just making sure I'm understanding how these words work.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, deserted means no one's there. Desert means it's dry and sandy.
Okay. A deserted island.
Yes.
Got
Either one. They represent different things. Like I said, isolation or things that you need to explore within yourself. Like maybe a lack of growth in your life, or, just feeling being in this small place and unable to escape. And being stranded in your dream in general suggests you're kind of crying out for help, but aren't really able to find anybody who can assist you. So that
obviously.
Avi. So that brings me to these special powers, which maybe don't seem so special after we've heard the whole dream, but
no, it just prolongs the inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, you said it yourself. There's only a small number of people here, right? 20 to 30 people. And it's basically like a competition, even though she doesn't really know this. But that reflects her feeling of lack of support, because everyone, like you said, is all for one, right? Everyone's kind of has to look out for themselves, because...
I mean, I get it, especially if it's not like family or people it's just coworkers. You're like,
it's just randos.
Yeah.
It's just
randos even. Randos, yeah.
It's just randos. So here comes Mindy's favorite part, this killer beetle. Nope. Beetles often symbolize hard work, transformation, or guidance in your life. So dreaming about beetles can mean you're going through an important time of growth or discovering more about yourself. And this kind of dream might be a sign that you do have the power to turn tough situations into a chance for improving and growing as a person. But looking into beetles more, so seeing giant beetles in particular, could indicate that small issues in your life are feeling overwhelming or magnified. And it also could mean that something in your life is just bothering you and you can't get rid of it, like the feeling of a bug on you, it's like personal or professional. It's irritation. It's irritation.
Yeah, there you go.
But then we go back. The bug hasn't started anything yet, really. They're now back into, this nice summer home. Seems like it's, in the Hamptons or something. Just kidding.
On the deserted desert island.
The deserted island. Do you know how I always we may have talked about this, but do you know how I always remembered the difference of how to spell desert versus dessert?
Probably the same way I remember how to spell
What is your way?
Because dessert has two S's because you want more of it.
Did I teach you that?
No, we must have both learned it separately. Maybe you did. Who knows? You taught me a lot of things. But
you taught me a lot of things. Yeah, I always say that because you want more dessert. Yeah, exactly. So no one's worried. No one's worried at first. No one's really questioning why they're there. No one's questioning this beetle. No one's questioning their powers or even sharing what each individual's powers are.
Yeah, so let's have like a little powwow and see if we can work together. I don't know. Maybe I'm jumping ahead here, but I feel like because the dream came off as so every man for himself or every woman or every person for themselves. They never did do that connection where they maybe we could be a bigger, better force if we all talk about our superpowers.
I think that sounds like a big communication issue to me, but also, nothing's really happened yet. So once the beetle enters and kills the first person, it seems like all chaos breaks out. So it's like they didn't really get a chance to talk about it, but if I just showed up on a deserted desert island, I would be like, hey, why are we here? And did did you guys get a secret power? Because I got a secret power. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'd want
Totally.
to like discuss that, but
Yeah.
no one seems worried at all.
Brooke, let me ask, if you were going to have a superpower to defeat this beetle, which superpower do you think would be helpful? Because it seems we have not found one yet. But
No, it's
do you
not.
think there's something that would be
It's
good?
Not well. She didn't technically try the paralyzing on the beetle. She actually
Is it
tried it on the
temporary?
human. I don't know. What is a beetle? Maybe if I had like a giant bug zapper.
Ooh, you want to be electrified.
Oh, electrified. Yes, I want
Yeah.
to be
Oh,
electrified.
that's a good
What
idea.
would
Yes.
you do?
The first thing that came to my mind was just like become a giant fly swatter.
I thought of
I
a
like your
giant
idea
foot
better.
or a giant fly swatter too.
I like your idea. I like to have the power of electricity.
Yeah, that's a
Smart.
good one. But now everyone's not so happy because the killing starts.
Yeah.
And if you dream about being attacked by beetles, it indicates that you're okay. So this is a little bit of a stretch, but it kind of fits in. This is saying beetles plural. It
Sure.
may feel like you're being swarmed by problems, but the size of the beetle, I think, is kind of the same as a lot of beetles.
Yeah.
Your subconscious, like I said before, is kind of alerting you to address these issues, these smaller ones, before letting them pile up. And the flying beetle indicates that your problems that you considered minor are now taking on greater significance. They're escalating.
They're harder to catch when they're flying.
Yeah, it's symbolizing something rising or becoming more prominent.
Sure. Okay.
And it is becoming more prominent
Mhm.
in the dream. It's not getting any better. And then they get to the glass office.
Not my first choice.
Not my first choice either. And like you said, that's not a great hiding place. And
No.
glass rooms in dreams are frequently associated with feelings of vulnerability,
Mhm.
exposure, or just, I guess, which leads to maybe a feeling of being scrutinized by others, which makes sense. And first, they see someone getting chased. Before the wall breaks, they're seeing someone getting chased, and they try to use their special power, fire. And we've talked about fire a million times, but in this particular dream, I think fire really symbolizes danger. And even though this wasn't her fight at the time, the fact that something as powerful as fire isn't working shows that a very clear and present danger in her life.
Yeah. I think that's interesting you said she observed it, because she observed a lot of things before it was her time to deal with the beetle.
Right. Her time.
Like, the two people that he swam through or like flew through and exploded. There was the guy running down the hall with the fire. There was the other person hiding in the room.
Yeah.
Subserving a lot. You think you might learn something to help.
Well, and you know what? She does use, again, like I said, her power against another rando, not the bug itself. So maybe she has been watching and learning. Again, even though it didn't end up so well, but she did get away for a little bit. So it worked for a little bit.
It's a Band-Aid.
Yeah, it was a Band-Aid. But also we know fire can symbolize rage and anxiety and fear, which, yeah, I feel that in this dream a lot. So I'm sure there's some kind of turbulence or feeling out of control in her real life. Then we shatter the glass wall. That goddamn beetle.
Can't we just shatter the glass ceiling, Brooke?
Yes.
Come on.
But then the
Gracie.
beetle's gonna be successful or something,
Maybe the beetle can't fly that high.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe one of the powers is taking the beetle's wings off.
Ooh, see, that would be a good idea too. At least make
Oh.
it more manageable of an issue.
Yes, and then maybe people can figure out how to get it. I can't believe I'm thinking of ways to kill an animal.
It's an imaginary animal.
It's an imaginary animal
it's
that
allowed,
is
it's
killing. Yeah. Okay. So broken glass in a dream kind of follows all the other symbols we've been talking about. It's shattered illusions or hopes. Someone is disappointing you or being deceptive in your life. If you're surrounded by all that broken glass, you may feel trapped. Like there's no safe way out. And this
Okay.
can, manifest stress because the conflict in Gracie's life is telling her it's time to remove yourself from the situation. And you know what? That's basically exactly what she does.
Right.
And glass is fragile. It's a material that easily shatters when just the correct amount of pressure is applied. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the same for you and me too, for everyone.
Right.
We
Yeah.
we all break at some point.
Yep.
And if you dream of glass items being broken around you, it could be a mirror for your emotional vulnerability and, stress. It's a stress dream too. You're close to your breaking point.
Mm.
And then this a-hole guy uses her as like a human shield.
Rude.
Rude. That's all I have to say. Rude. Quite literally an enemy in her life. Someone is actually using her, doesn't care. She feels more powerless until
Mm-hmm.
she does use her crystal paralyzing power.
Yes.
And she stops the guy. So she's taking that power back, not letting this dude walk all over her, whoever he may represent in, her waking life.
Yeah.
And crystals in general, crystals. I can't get into crystals too much because over cultures, over history, just they represent so much depending on what color they are, what purpose they serve. But in general, a crystal structure is an energetic kind of magnifying glass, which is not the first time that has been used in the symbolism in this dream. Like before, we were saying it's kind of a mirror to your emotions,
Classroom.
but magnifying glass for your conscious efforts and the subconscious stirring. So this crystal structure in a dream can reflect intensified thoughts, desires, or even suppressed emotions that are demanding your attention.
Mm-hmm. Still, yep. I'm paying attention.
Yeah, I'm paying attention. Basically, the main question is what problem is paralyzing her in her life? Because that's the power she was giving. So if that's being magnified, how can we flip it? Because she does flip it in the dream.
Yeah.
She does use it for her own good. Like, how can she flip it and make it work like she did in this dream? What is that paralyzing fear that she can maybe look at from a different direction and use it to help her get beyond it?
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the fear of beetles.
Well, it could be quite a literal dream. Just be scared of beetles.
Could be.
And then she gets killed anyway, which is
Yeah,
kind
it's
of a
always a
bummer
bummer.
because she really tried. She didn't quit. She's a fighter, but as we often say with death in a dream, it presents an opportunity for a rebirth for Gracie, a new chapter in your life maybe. So I say pay attention to your dream. Look at what small things are maybe escalating into something bigger. And instead of maybe observing and being afraid, paralyzed in a way to address these issues, go ahead and jump on in, and it could really flip your life around.
Take charge.
Take charge, girly. You can do
bug
it.
Zap that beetle. Thanks, Gracie, for sharing your dream. Nice job on the interpretation, Brooke. Loved it.
Oh, gracias.
Congratulations. Very nice. Very nice. All right, Bestie. It's time for our question of the week.
Oh.
Okay.
I love it and hate it at the same time.
I know, but this one's light. This one's easy.
Okay.
Not too hard. There's no wrong answer. You don't have to worry about life choices.
No.
Like
And there's no judging here, people.
Would you rather, and it's got an entertainment twist to it.
Ooh, I love.
Would you rather be part of the Dumphy family from Modern Family
Okay.
or part of the Rose family from Schitt's Creek?
Rose family. Rose family. You just know it's going to be more interesting. The Dumphy family does
drama.
have some dysfunction, I will say, but I want to be with David. I want to.
You want to be David's best friend.
I do. I just want to know that life and experience that life. And
You have to live in that tiny town, though.
I don't really like. If I were younger, it might be different. But I don't. I'll go to the one bar in town if I feel the need, or you know what? I
Go to the
like a
cafe.
hotel. I like a hotel.
You like a motel, hotel, Holiday Inn?
Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn.
I'm gonna have to put that on my request list.
What about you now, Mindy?
Yeah. You know what? It's
And
harder for me. I don't know. I like both. There's
harder.
upsides and downsides.
This is where I think our viewpoints differs because you have a family.
Sure.
With kids. And that has influenced, I think, your answers differently than me as a person without kids. And I don't know if that affects this particular question, but
I'm going to go with the Dunphy family. We're going opposite again. We are so opposite in these. Only because I feel like I wouldn't be in a small town.
That is
I feel
true.
like there's more people I could connect with in that family.
Yeah.
As much as I do love the Rose family. I do.
Yes.
I love them. I just feel like really if I look down to personalities, I would probably get along better with the people from the Dunphy family. Like, and just like different friendships. Like there's so much variety of people in that one.
Mindy.
And different personalities. You know who I think I would be total friends with? Cam and Mitch. Cam and Mitch.
Cam, I was going to say Cam right from the start. He is my favorite. I love him. Eric Stonestreet. So I think what
is that who plays him?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
We should say.
Oh, yes. Because if I'm going to be friends and I'm going to be in your family, I got to know what you dream.
I need to. So hashtag. What does Eric Stonestreet dream?
Oh, yeah. He's fabulous.
I love him. Love him.
I am curious. I am very curious.
And you know,
every person on
Jesse Tyler Ferguson is gay in real life. That's Mitch. But Eric Stonestreet, who you think is more on the show, who you would think is more of the stereotypical,
flamboyant
kind of gay character, is not in real life. But I love him as an actor. I've seen him do drama. I've seen him do other stuff. Oh,
I could see him being very good in drama as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love the guy.
So Eric, Mr. Stonestreet. First of all, it's a cool last name.
It is.
Let us know what you dream.
Mr. Stonestreet.
And can I be part of your family? Your modern family.
Your modern family, please.
I had to. I mean, it was just lined up. Nerd.
See, I get along with people in general. And even if they're weird, I get enjoyment out of that. And if you think about even like Roland and Jocelyn, how even though Roland's a total fuck up kind of person, but they're so welcoming and they're so sweet, good-hearted to these strangers, and basically welcome them with open arms, even though they start off as pretentious and kind of
now
horrible.
I'm wondering, like, if you had to like make the decision, like episode 1.
Okay, Mindy, here comes Mindy.
Curious, because like they don't grow as character. Anyways, okay, well that doesn't matter. But Bestie, if you want to jump in on this conversation, be sure to join our Facebook group, and you can find us by searching for Remelations Besties. We always have our questions of the week posted, so you can get involved in the conversation. Dunphys or roses?
Mindy, you might have to make a little sojourn back to Dubuque in December.
Why is that?
My brother is having a Schitt's Creek themed trivia night.
I've seen it, but I am not like a triple, quadruple watcher.
Start watching it now.
We have to do an ER.
Oh my God.
Night.
He would totally do an ER night.
I could come in for that.
He's on our text, our group text. Our we love ER text that my brother, Mindy, and I have. We can't stop.
We have a very special text chain called We Love ER.
Because we do. And Mindy, can I ask you, where are you in ER? Like where
I just started season 4, I think. 5? 4, 5.
Are there new? Is that new? Like
this is where we introduce Lucy.
Yes. Okay.
That's where we're at. Lucy.
And I'm just saying I'm not loving. We're like,
are you that far?
I think it's season 5. God. I'm in season 5.
Okay, season 5 then. Yeah, that must be season 5. You've caught up to me. Girl.
I did, but like I said, my insomnia has been kicking my ass lately, and I've just been up all night watching ER after ER after ER.
Yeah, that does it. But no,
anyway.
it's funny because I remember her from originally watching it.
I
was like, oh really? Because then I was like, oh yeah, I do. She's familiar. So I don't know.
And the funny thing, I know we've gotten way into the weeds here, but the funny thing is, I just kind of watch them back to back, and there was something and I wasn't sure what the season finale was, but all of a sudden she's on there and I'm like, oh, this has to be like episode 1 of the next season because it felt totally different. And I'm like, just wait. Just wait. Be patient. Okay. And there's still some good shit happening. All right.
Of course. Okay. Moving on
to Catnaps. Mindy, Catnaps is our segment of the show where we read a bunch of your dreams, listeners, besties, and we go through them pretty quickly. We don't analyze them too much. We just want to get you on the show with your dream stories. Maybe it's a 1-sentence dream. Maybe it's just a dream thought, but...
A dream thought.
Dream thought.
Okay, well, I'm kicking this segment off with a dream from Samantha.
Okay.
She goes by Sam. And I'm just going to jump into it. She says, okay, I have so many dreams to share.
Oh.
But this one just happened last night, and I have absolutely no context for it. What could it mean?
Love it.
What is my subconscious trying to tell me? We may never know.
We may never know.
Dream. :
Did she really put dream :
Yes.
I love it.
I do too. It's very organized. We love it.
We need glasses that say I love it instead of I don't like it.
I know we do.
Maybe it could be a set. One says I love it, one says I don't like it.
I don't like it. Sam says, I woke up from sleep in the early morning hours of pre-dawn and went to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
When I pulled down my pants, a fly unfurled its body from against my thigh and flew up to my face.
I certainly don't like this. I certainly don't like it.
Mine changed. It flew up into my face and away into the bathroom. I looked in the corner where my toilet paper is and saw a green iridescent fly stuck in a spider web.
What? You have spider webs and flies in your crotch and bathroom?
She finishes with saying, the only context I have is my dog is afraid of flies, ? Love you both. Sam from Washington, the state, not the district.
Oh, thank you, Sam. I love the clarification, too. We'd ask.
We don't need crotch flies. That is not necessary. Unnecessary.
And I guess at least your bathroom has spiders to catch the flies. Is this like
look at the
little old lady who swallowed a fly and then like
the bathroom
the spider eats the fly and then the bird eats the spider and then the
beetle eats
bird.
Everything else.
And then the beetle flies through the old lady and everyone dies.
Chaos ensues. Perhaps. But thank you for sharing your dreams, Sam. We would love to hear more.
Yes, especially since she says she has more. Keep them coming. This is Katie, and she's from Iowa City. Hey, I used to live there.
Yeah, I see.
Had a dream around May 19th that I was watching Curious George on YouTube, and 3 stories in a row he was playing with a gun.
No, Curious George, bad monkey. Put the gun down. Bad monkey.
Put it down. And she even says, take note, this was the Curious George from like the 80s when it was animated in like stop motion. Yeah,
that was I had in my head.
Then he was making a pink milkshake. His hand and the milkshake came out of my phone because she's watching her YouTube on her phone.
Right.
Came out of my phone and I tried it and it tasted like shit.
Oh. Well, because it wasn't banana flavored. I mean, he doesn't know
maybe
the strawberries.
Maybe it had too much kale in it.
Yeah. Oh, gross.
Very bitter.
Get kale out of anything I'm drinking, please.
I don't want it. I know it's a superfood, but I don't want it.
No.
I switched to a Simpsons video on YouTube. I saw the Springfield people watching a TV sports game. I offered the milkshake to Krusty the Clown, and he spit it out all over me. Then I threw up what I had drinking of the milkshake all over the couch. And then I woke up.
God. This is very messy.
That's a terrible milkshake.
I would say check the expiration date on that milk, because it seems it's giving some drum-tums to everybody.
Yeah, that's not a good milkshake. Mm-mm.
This is Lindsay from Hazel Park, Michigan. I had a recurring nightmare growing up. I would wake up from my sleep in my bedroom. It would still be dark out, and I would see a small shape in the corner of my room. The shape would turn around and be a man. No.
I don't
but small, almost like it had no legs or something. And he would come towards me with a brown paper bag in his hands.
I really don't like it. I don't know what's creepy about this. A guy with no legs coming toward me with a paper bag, but for some reason, I don't
What's in the bag? What's in the bag?
I don't like it.
He wore a brown tattered cloak with a hood that was up so I couldn't see his face, but I could see he had a long gray beard. When he got to the side of my bed, he'd ask... Oh, sorry, this was disturbing. I just read it ahead. When he got to the side of my bed, he'd ask if I would look in his bag.
No.
Don't!
No. Don't reach into his pocket. Don't look into his bag.
And every time, before I could answer, he'd open it and show it to me.
Oh, it?
It was full of something that looked like coffee grounds. And the longer I stared, the more I saw. Sometimes I would see ordinary scenarios in the bag, like people putting shopping carts back in cars. Or driving on a
the
street.
bag?
It's like a magic...
It's like
magic
a crystal ball.
A crystal ball bag.
A crystal ball bag.
So just like you could see people putting away shopping carts, or driving down the street. But sometimes it would be super dark stuff, like people being shot or other awful things.
Oh.
Other awful things I don't want to type out.
Oh, bad.
Then my eyes would unfocus, and it would be the coffee grounds again. And then I would wake up. This is a recurring dream, mind you. So it's very interesting.
What are the coffee grounds?
I was terrified of this man. Even writing about it scares me that I might see him again, even though I haven't since I was 18 and my parents had moved out of that house.
Maybe it had something to do with that house.
You might want to put in the notes for the realtor. Might be haunted by short man, no legs, gray beard with a bag of
brown
coffee
paper
grounds.
bag of coffee and horrible insights. Future.
But it's interesting how sometimes it would be just normal things and sometimes like things you wouldn't even want to talk about.
But it always started and ended with the coffee grounds.
Yeah, why?
And maybe they weren't coffee grounds, but just looked like coffee grounds. So
you know, like people read tea leaves, so maybe it was like a play on that. But maybe this man liked coffee and not tea.
Oh,
so it's just coffee grounds.
He's just mad that maybe your family only drank tea, and he's like, "Where's the goddamn coffee? Can you brew this up for me?"
You know those prophecy people, and you know their preferences for tea or coffee.
You know those old folks with no legs that just want coffee. This is Christy from Green Bay, and she says, I, 21 female, just had a dream I was in a serious sexual relationship with a woman, and I was really enjoying myself. Nice. I was on cloud 9 when I woke up. I've always had an interest in exploring my sexuality and experimenting with women. I feel like this is my sign to go for it.
Yes.
And I love these kind of dreams because sometimes in dreams it's safer.
Yeah.
You feel safer. Your mind feels safer to maybe push you a little bit, explore something in a world that's not necessarily real, but could give you insight to what you really need to do in real life. So go ahead, Christy.
Go. Get it.
Get that girl. Get it. I love it.
Yes. Okay. Next up, we have Jay from Stockton, California. This is a short and sweet one. I had a very vivid dream last night where I had a huge jar full of red glass dice.
Oh.
I took 2 from the jar and rolled them.
What kind
One
of game
shattered.
Is this?
The game of
dice.
I took 2 from... That was so stupid.
That was the stupidest thing ever.
I took 2 from the jar and rolled them. One shattered as it hit the ground, and the other showed a number 4. Any ideas what this could mean?
Mindy, as our expert numerologist.
Not an expert.
As
the unexperted person who likes numbers, who gets them backwards all the time. 4s means stability, 4 walls. So anything that is grounded to you, life. You know, if you think of your home and all the things you need, electricity, water, food, anything like that's very security. It's all based on security.
And then why does the other one shatter? Oh, we're not talking about that today,
we're
friends.
moving on.
We're moving right along to Heather from Washington, D.C. And this is
DC,
not
the
DC.
district,
It says
not
DC.
the
state. Yeah, the
Unlike
district, not the
our other
state.
friend, Sam.
Unlike our
Yeah.
other friend. But
Got them both covered, though.
we've heard many variations of this dream, but
Okay.
I don't think we've ever talked about this variation.
Okay.
I have a recurring nightmare that I have put chewing gum in my mouth and it starts to expand and take over my whole mouth.
No.
It keeps growing and growing. When it started to get out of control, I tried desperately to yank it out of my mouth. But at this point, it has woven itself all over my teeth and gums. And every time I pull out more,
No.
it's like it just keeps expanding and getting worse. Mm-mm.
I hate these
I know
ones.
it sounds strange. No, it doesn't, honey. But my dreams are so intense that in these dreams, I pull out the chewing gum and it feels like I am ripping off
Yeah.
my actual gums and teeth. Ouch.
Yeah. Yep.
Ouchie.
Don't like these ones. We get these a lot.
We get
You're
these
right.
a lot, but I've never heard of the chewing gum variant to these.
Yeah.
Have we
Yeah.
talked
Threads.
about that? Teeth falling out,
needles.
teeth being loose, needles. Oh God, that one was terrible, Mindy.
That was
The
bad.
needles and
Yeah,
the
chewing gum.
magnets.
Yeah.
The needles and the magnets.
Yes, that one. Never good. Never, ever.
It's a
good.
stress dream, Heather. I'm sorry. It's nothing more than that. Don't have to go to
Yeah.
the dentist. Don't worry about your gums. Just meditate and reflect.
And, maybe not chew so much gum.
Yeah, I bet she doesn't chew gum in
Do
her
you have?
waking life.
Are you like a gum chewer? Do you like have a favorite brand of gum?
No, I'm not a big gum chewer. I think it's a pretty black or white thing. I think I enjoy gum. Like, I don't dislike gum, but I think there are people that like need gum, that are just,
Yes.
it's like an oral fixation thing. They need
Right.
a piece of gum all the time.
Yeah.
I will have a piece of gum from time to time. I do prefer maybe a minty, like a wintergreen, like it's more of a spearmint.
Spearmint.
Than,
The peppermint?
Not peppermint so much, but like a spearmint.
Mhm.
But the fruity ones are good too. You're not a huge gum
No.
chewer, are you?
Actually, I'm almost on the side of dislike gum because
Yeah.
like I'll do it if like I need to freshen my breath for something.
Sure.
If I don't have like Tic Tacs or something else that would satisfy that.
I
or
would
toothbrush.
use something before I use gum, yes,
Yeah.
to
I don't
freshen
know.
my breath.
But I mean, if I do pick a gum, I want bubbles and I want like grape,
Oh, you mean
like
like
bubble yum.
bubble yum? Okay. Oh, I do like grape bubble yum.
Yeah, that's good.
We should try to do who can blow the biggest bubble on our sleepovers.
Live on our live friendship renewal.
Yes.
Which we have to plan.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But I also think there's something about gum when people chew with their mouth open in general. It's like a big pet peeve of mine. It just it hits
It gives
me
you the ick.
It gives me the ick. Like it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
That kind of ick where
Agreed.
it's like I can't
Can't get past it.
Mm-mm.
Hey, Bestie, do you like chewing gum? Let us know. But the other thing you can do is tell your friend about the podcast. You can tell your bestie, you can tell a complete stranger, or you can tell your favorite clairvoyant about the podcast. Just look into their paper bag of coffee grounds. Tell them what you see in there is a really fantastic podcast called Revelations. Pass the word. Pass the word, nerd.
Did you just say pass the word, nerd?
I did. Mhm.
Is that a new thing? Is that what
I
all
don't
the
know.
kids are saying?
No, I just said it myself. Maybe it'll catch on.
Let's try to
Let's
use
hope
it.
not. Thanks, Bestie.
Oh my God, I guess it blew it for me. I just got this Google alert that came up that said Team USA wins gold at Olympics gymnastics team finals.
Damn it. And then you ruined it for me. Bitch. What am I supposed to do tonight except for watch the Olympics?
Well, I don't have cable. Is it on Peacock? Do you know? Is it on Peacock?
NBC? I think, yeah. I think
Oh,
one of them.
One of those streaming services because I don't have
Yeah.
cable, but sorry, Mindy. I didn't say anything.
Moving on.
Forget.
Just bring out the Men in Black, like, popper.
I'm bringing out the paralyzing crystal to your
yes,
brain.
please.
Forget.
Fabulous. There's a lot of things I want to forget in my life. This may not be one of them.
This
Okay.
is not top of the list.
This is not top of my list. Good point. Yeah. All right, Brooke. I'm going to take you back to the 1940s
Oh, okay.
in the Soviet Union.
Oh, not okay.
Yeah, not a great time.
Okay.
You might have heard of this story before.
Oh, God.
It's called the Russian sleep experiment.
It's probably not good.
Have you heard of this?
Not off the top of my head, but maybe
Okay.
if as you continue, I'll think of it. But
Good.
it's probably
Okay.
not good.
It's
No
not
sleep
great.
experiments in World War II were good.
Good. Yeah. So we're going back, like I said, to the 1940s. This was the middle of World War II. It was right before the Cold War era began.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about Russian scientists who wanted to see how they could use sleep deprivation as a war tactic.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
That's used to this day as one of
really is.
the worst tortures there is. Sleep
It is.
deprivation, or even a lot of militaries give their soldiers like meth or meth-like drugs to keep them awake, to keep going. So
Girl, you're one step ahead of me.
Okay.
Here we go.
Zip it.
Okay, so this is a new story for you. So let's get into it.
Okay.
So they had a goal of keeping 5 people awake for 15 to 30 days using a gas.
Sorry.
Yes. Using
Sorry.
a gas.
This is
I know,
your
you're
first
already
sentence.
mad.
This is your
Brooke's
first
like,
sentence, and I'm
no.
already mad.
Using a gas-based stimulant. These test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies of the Soviets in World War II. So they're like, it's your lucky day. We're not going to kill you, but we're going to slowly probably try to kill you.
And torture you along the way.
Yeah. So you get to be part of our sleep experiment. Lucky you.
Mm,
So these 5 men were placed in what is known as the chamber.
I don't like it.
This is this was the 1940s, so there wasn't like fancy ways of monitoring things. So it was very, very plain barracks type of a room.
Yeah.
They had cots, but no bedding. You know, you don't want to get too comfortable to fall asleep.
No.
They had some running water, a toilet.
I'm surprised they even had cots.
Right? Yeah.
They should have had no furniture whatsoever.
Yeah.
That would be more conducive to you staying away.
Sure. They gave them dried food, enough to last the 5 of them over a month, so they had plenty of food. They had some books, and then the way that they monitored these men was that they had a microphone in the room, so they could hear, but it was before, like, TVs,
Yeah,
closed circuit
sure.
TVs, so it was just a microphone, and then they also had these porthole windows that were 5-inch thick glass that they could observe them through.
So they are just like staring.
Could you imagine? Oh, that just gives me the idea of, like, some horror movie.
Yeah, like someone is literally, it's like an alien thing. Someone's literally experimenting on you and just like
Yes.
looking
Just
through the glass
watching.
at you.
Watching.
Oh boy.
Okay, so this is going to be very similar. We've talked about a couple sleep deprivation stories before.
We have
So it'd be
like
seem
world
very similar.
records and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the days as they go are kind of lining up with the things we've seen in the past. We'll start with day 0 to 30. Seemed normal. The subjects hardly complained. I mean, they're like, hey, we're not dead. That's good. They didn't kill
But
us
also
on
you
sight.
said they're giving them some kind of gas, right? To keep
Yes,
them
so
awake?
the room is filled with a stimulant to keep them awake.
Okay. 30 days though still.
Yeah.
I don't know how you trick your brain. I mean, whatever they had in that gas, but you can't help but hallucinate and stuff like after just a couple days. Oh, okay. I'm interested. Sorry.
So day 3. No, they're good. So up to day 3, they were fine. The prisoners were compliant because they were promised if they submitted to doing this experiment and they stayed awake for 30 days, they would be released as prisoners.
Okay. I would
they're like,
I would
well,
risk it.
Try it, right?
I would risk it.
The subjects started chatting to one another about their lives, and they just became comfortable getting to know each other in their new environment.
Okay.
Day 4. A shift happened when the subjects began talking more about traumatic incidences in their past instead of pleasantries,
Okay.
and the conversations began to take on a darker tone.
Sure. That
Okay,
makes sense.
so we already talked about our whole lives. It's day 3. What else are we going to do? Well,
Right.
It's day 4. We got to talk about the bad shit.
It's just a matter of time before the story gets darker.
Yeah, darker. Day 5, The participants began, I'll use the words participants, prisoners.
Yeah.
Yeah, prisoners, the subjects, the prisoners, began
POWs.
complaining. Yeah, POWs. Began complaining about the circumstances and the events that led them to be in the situation.
Oh, that is dark.
That's the day they began to show signs of stress and, of course, paranoia.
It's starting.
Day 5, paranoia. The 5 prisoners stopped talking to each other at this point,
Oh.
and instead began alternately whispering into the microphones and at the portholes.
Ooh, were there microphones at the portholes, or were they just reading their lips, do you think?
Yeah, help me. I don't like it in here.
Bitch. I hate you.
What they said into the microphones was interesting as well, including trying to befriend the researchers, or the guards.
Researchers in
They
quotes.
They tried to, their captors, I don't know. So they tried to befriend.
Doctors.
Yeah. They tried to befriend them and throw other prisoners under the bus, saying like they were doing things wrong, they weren't participating properly. So they started like becoming very paranoid about the people they were in the room with. The scientists were like, okay, again, scientists were like, maybe this torture technique is working. We can start turning people towards each other around day 5 of sleep deprivation.
This is sick. Yes.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not going to get better.
I didn't think it would.
Day 9. This is when the screaming begins.
Oh, no.
One of the prisoners, I don't have a name for any of these prisoners, so do you want to give him, let's say, Brooke, do you want to give him a name?
Yeah, his name was Ralph Kochek.
Ralph Kochek. So prisoner Ralph began running the length of the chamber repeatedly, screaming at the top of his lungs for 3 straight hours.
Oh, until his voice gave and he couldn't scream anymore?
You got it. He wore out his vocal cords and could only squeak at that point.
And all the other prisoners were like,
whispering.
yay, Ralph can't scream anymore.
They're like, hey, can you get Ralph out of here? He's an asshole.
He's keeping us all awake. Oh, wait, that's the point.
We don't know what's happening. The poison is it Ralph? We can't tell. So researchers at this point assumed that he had screamed until his vocal cords had torn.
Yeah. That's not good.
At first, the other prisoners didn't react. They just continued whispering into the microphone, just like I played out for you. That was until the second prisoner started screaming.
Oh, no. Was this the same day 9?
Yes.
Or was this
same
like
day
the
9,
next
day 9.
Oh, boy. Textbook day 9. Sleep deprivation. The screaming begins.
The screaming banshees. Now, 2 of the non-screaming prisoners at this point began tearing books apart.
Oh.
They started, this is interesting, they started smearing the pages with their own feces, and they pasted them over the glass porthole windows so researchers couldn't see in.
You know what? They're getting smarter as the more delusional they get.
Are they though? I don't know.
They're like, fuck
I don't
you.
know.
We're not going to give you any information. If you know what, we have this microphone, but you can't look at us. They're kind of taking control back a little bit, but I think
don't
it's
like
more
the idea
delusion.
it's with feces. It's kind of gross. But I mean, when you're a prisoner, I mean, I can't.
But they do that in even prisons in the U.S., like regular prisons, not sleep deprivation prisons. Is it called a bomb? Where it's just a whatever container you can get, and is it your?
I don't
if
like
it's
this.
your, I know urine,
I'm feeling
your
dirty.
feces, your blood,
Oh.
and they throw it at correctional officers.
That's a job you couldn't pay me enough to do.
And they don't get paid much.
No,
They don't get paid
you're
much.
Right.
Yeah,
It's true.
It's terrible.
So after they wallpapered the portholes, the screaming eventually stopped, and so did the microphone whispers. It just went dark.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Yep. Now we're at day 12. 3 days have passed since the prisoners had done this, and the researchers are questioning if the prisoners were just tired because, they can't see in. They're not hearing anything.
Hey, at least they're eating well, right? They've got some bowel movements.
At least in the beginning.
God.
The researchers at this point decided to check to make sure the microphones were working, since it was strange that no one had made even a sound, even though it seemed impossible with 5 people in the room. There were also in this chamber oxygen monitors, so they could tell the levels of oxygen. They found it weird that these oxygen levels were as though all 5 prisoners were alive, but not only that, but consuming large amounts of oxygen, as though they were exercising or doing some sort of strenuous activity.
But weren't they also pumping drugs in the room? Could that possibly be making them breathing differently?
So many variables.
There's so many variables.
This is a very bad scientific experiment.
No, there's no
standard variables. What's our hypothesis?
What is it? Oh, what is it?
You're going to have to look up the scientific method.
There's no base level here, right? It's just out of control. We're not
there's
studying
no
these
placebo
people,
effect.
And then there's no placebo. We're not studying these people to see how
fixed
it comes
variables.
About.
Fixed variables. That's what we're talking
terrible.
About. Yeah. Okay. Well, researchers are wondering what's going on. So day 14, 5 days now after the feces window coverings. Researchers were concerned and
the feces window coverings. Sorry.
Researchers were concerned and decided to do one last-ditch effort in order to get a reaction. The prisoners didn't know there was an intercom in the room. So what the scientists did was they got on the intercom, which was not previously used, and they announced they would be opening the door to test the microphones.
And clean the windows.
Don't want that job. You don't pay me enough. They told the prisoners to step away from the door and lie flat on the floor, or else they would be shot.
I'd be like, hey, the deal was we stay awake for 30 days.
You're changing the rules.
You're changing the rules of the game here.
If they'd complied to this request by laying on the floor, one of them would be rewarded with their freedom. But Brooke, let me tell you what. It's a lie. They were lying.
Those assholes.
Wasn't true.
Ugh. Rude.
All of a sudden, they heard something in the microphone. These voices replied, "We no longer want to be free."
What? Oh my God. This is getting intense.
Your face. Bestie, if you're not part of our sleepover squad, Brooke is fully vested in the story. It shows on her face.
So I didn't expect to hear that. Oh, so interesting. Okay.
These researchers then debated on what the next steps should be. What to do. Should they open the door? Should they leave them in there? But they decided, after so much debate, to open the door at midnight on the 15th day.
Okay, so they're halfway through at this point.
They're they wanted to get 15 days, and so they were very persistent on waiting that long, it seems like. And so as soon as midnight hit, they're okay, we've made it to 15 at least.
Yeah. At least.
At least. Okay, day 15. The chamber was cleared of the stimulant gas. So they just pumped in oxygen to get rid of all the stimulant. And that's when they heard 3 voices over the mics begging for the gas to be turned back on.
Because it was the only thing keeping them sane, probably.
As the soldiers entered the chamber, they noticed one prisoner was dead.
Dead?
Dead.
Wow.
Okay. But not only dead, but really dead. Pieces of flesh from what they assumed were his leg. That leg meat was stuffed into the drain in the center of the room, which allowed for 4 inches of water to flood the floor.
Okay. Hold on. Did he take his own flesh and now they're sitting in basically sewage and raw flesh? 4 inches is not a little amount of water. That is a lot of water in the room.
Well, the problem is we don't know because we can't see in there. We have feces window blinds covering, so we don't know what's happening. This is all we got.
Okay.
This is the record.
Okay.
The remaining 4 subjects were alive, but barely. The food rations had barely been touched since the room was last visible. It looked like there were self-inflicted wounds, and large portions of skin and muscle were torn away from each of their bodies.
Oh, is that a typical thing of sleep deprivation? I've never heard that before, but is that something that happens after a prolonged period of time?
I think
self-harm, like,
I don't know. It's not great. But let me quote something from some of the information I found, because this explains it a little more grotesquely. So if you're ready.
I am.
The abdominal organs just below the ribcage of all 4 test subjects had been removed, while the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place. The skin and most of the muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs through the ribcage. All the blood vessels and the organs remained intact, but had been taken out and laid next to them on the floor, fanning out around the eviscerated but yet still living bodies of the subjects.
Wait.
I'm not done.
Okay, but can I just ask real quick, is this them doing it to the prisoners, or did the prisoners do this to themselves?
Either the prisoners did this to themselves, or they did it to each other. We don't know.
And they did it the exact same thing to each other? Like, Mindy, you never cease to amaze me. Okay, I'm listening.
The digestive tract of all 4 could be seen to be working, digesting food, but knowing that the food hadn't been eaten, it quickly became apparent that what they were digesting was their own flesh that they had ripped off and eaten over the course of the days.
But why are they eating human flesh if they are provided with food?
They're like, we don't want your bomb shelter Twinkies. I'd rather have Johnny's eyelids.
Eyelids are tasty, though, Mindy.
They're thin. They're very delicate. You can't cook them too long.
You have to have the right chef to cook a good eyelid.
So the scientists, researchers, prison guards decided something had to be done at this point to stop the experiment. So
really? They're stopping themselves?
Yeah,
That's
right.
I never thought that would happen.
However, so this is kind of like some of the aftermath after they walked in. The prisoners wanted to stay in the chamber, still insisting they wanted to stay in this chamber. When asked what they had done to themselves, they all responded the same: I must remain awake. The prisoners were showing extremely crazed behavior, screaming for the guards to turn the gas back on. This was so overwhelming to the point some soldiers refused to go into the room to remove the subjects. Yeah.
They'll probably eat your face if you try to go in there.
Right? Oh.
Why did they turn the gas off if they want to keep them awake?
Well, I think they just didn't know what was happening in there, so they had to open the door to figure it out.
Put on a gas mask. Those were they were present back then. Okay, anyway, sorry. Okay.
Nothing makes sense.
I'll listen.
Okay. Finally, soldiers had removed the prisoners from the chamber, but they did put up a fight. And some of the things they had noted was they had superhuman strength.
What? Was this PCP they pumped into the room?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
That is
valid.
The question. What drug were they pumping into the room?
I don't know.
Okay.
They fought so hard to stay in that room. One of the soldiers had his throat ripped out and died. One had his
ripped out?
Super strength, Brooke. His throat. They're like, I want to stay in this room. Gone. Well, he can't scream. But this one's even better. One.
Did you say, well, he can't scream?
One soldier had his testicles ripped off.
Ouch. That hurts.
Huge bite marks on the other soldiers. In total, 5 soldiers lost their lives trying to remove these 4 men.
5?
Some at the time, but some unalived themselves after seeing the horror of what had happened in the chamber. So they attribute 5 overall. Sorry. Okay, moving on.
No.
So doesn't get better.
I'm fascinated, Mindy, but still, oh my God. Okay.
In the struggle to be removed from the chamber, one of the remaining 4 alive prisoners had a spleen rupture in the struggle, and he began to bleed out. And then as much as they tried to sedate him, to bring him into surgery because they wanted to kind of save him, as much as they tried, they couldn't sedate him. more than 10 times the normal dose of morphine. He broke the ribs of the doctor trying to get him
It sure sounds
strapped
like
in.
PCP to me.
Right. He died. This
The doctor?
No,
or
sorry,
the patient?
the patient died, and according to one report, his heart beat for a full 2 minutes after bleeding out. Okay, we're down to 3, Brooke. 3 remaining prisoners. This is like the story of
But
like the
they've
5
been-
monkeys jumping on the bed.
But they've also removed them from this chamber, right? So they're no
Yes.
longer exposed to any of the gases or anything, and they're still going psychotic because they haven't slept.
The 3 remaining were heavily restrained and moved to a medical facility, but again, they were continually begging to be returned to the gas chamber. Another prisoner died in surgery. It was reported that in his autopsy that his blood had triple the normal levels of oxygen for a human. Subdued, he had broken 8 of his bones. So that's
Eek!
interesting.
Ika bika.
Okay. The next prisoner, who was our first screamer, what did you name him?
Ralph.
Ralph, yes. So Ralph, our first screamer, who had his vocal cords destroyed. The surgeons tried to fix his organs without anesthesia because the anesthesia didn't work. And the surgeon just reported he couldn't understand how he was surviving.
How
nurse
did he
is-
go through surgery without anesthesia?
How is any of this happening?
Yeah, that is the question, isn't it? How is any of this working?
The nurse assisting the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times when her eyes met his. I don't like
Creepy
that
and
detail.
Disturbing.
Very disturbing.
They have tortured these guys into psychosis, it sounds
Yes.
like.
So there's 2. So the last 2 were taken to surgery, again, without anesthesia. But the surgeon found it difficult to concentrate due to the nonsensical continuous laughing.
Ooh.
After surgery, one scribbled a note to the doctor that just read, I guess this is the guy without the vocal cords because he had to write a note, that said, "Keep cutting."
Oh!
Again, begging to return to the chamber to receive more of the awake gas.
Okay, but they're not getting the awake gas in the chamber anymore.
No. They want him to put him back and turn back on. Okay.
They must have liked that awake gas.
Addictive, I guess. Whatever it is. So the remaining test subjects were put back in the chamber until they could decide what to do with them.
So there's 2.
I put 3. I don't know. It seems like there was a couple. Yeah, I think it's 2. Yeah, I think 3 or 2. I don't know. I see
Okay.
varying. There's some
All
variance
right.
in there.
Well, there's varying numbers,
Yeah.
of course.
Again, they were very adamant if they fell asleep, they would die. So they wanted to be put back in the chamber with the gas on because they felt if they fell asleep, they'd just die. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's like your organs outside your body might make you die too, perhaps?
Yeah, so
or...
don't rip into each other's midsections and experiment with lungs and organs if you don't have to.
Don't. Ugh. Okay.
Eventually, they'll give you an Ambien and you'll have a nice night's sleep.
You have the best night's sleep
At
ever.
day 30, they give you an Ambien and you
Yeah.
sleep like a baby.
And you get to go home. You're no longer a prisoner. So they connected one of these men to an EEG. One of our favorite sleepy time
I've had
brainwave
that.
things. Yep, we
I've
have.
had that.
His eyes were blinking rapidly as he was strained to keep his head from the pillow. Like he did not want to fall asleep. So
And
he's
this
doing
is
everything
still
he can.
with no gas.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Researchers were monitoring his brain waves were surprised. The brain waves looked normal most of the time, but sometimes they flatlined inexplicably. It looked as if he was suffering brain death before returning to normal. Brain death, returning to normal.
Oh.
As researchers focused on the EEG printout, a nurse claimed that she saw the man's eyes slip shut at the same time his head hit the pillow, and his brain waves immediately changed to that of deep sleep, then flattened. And that was the last time his heart ever beat. So as soon as he fell asleep, he died.
So they were right with their fear of they
Yes.
didn't want to. But why? Like, shouldn't sleep help them rejuvenate and recuperate?
What I mean, depending on what they give him. I mean, who knows? There's like, could have been the surgery, could have been not eating.
The non-anesthesia surgery.
Perhaps bleeding out. Okay. Now we're down to
one
or two. Like, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I have two at this point. So again, some varying sources.
Sure.
The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with the remaining 2 subjects inside, as well as 3 researchers.
What?
And turn the
3 researchers were sealed inside? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Now,
Sorry,
one of these
Mindy.
researchers didn't like this idea very much and drew his gun and shot the commander point blank between the eyes, and then turned the gun on the mute prisoner, Ralph, our friend, and killed him as well.
I don't even know how to respond, and that doesn't happen very often with me.
He pointed the gun at the remaining prisoner, still restrained to the bed, as members of the medical research team fled the room. He did not want any part of this, and he refused to be locked in the room and go mad. He asked the prisoner, "What are you?" The prisoner smiled. And here is the quote I have.
I don't like it already.
The prisoner
Mindy.
responded,
I don't like it.
"Have you forgotten so easily? We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment of your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go into the nocturnal heaven where we cannot tread."
That is poetic and incredibly insane, but also incredibly sane for the situation this person's brain was in. Like, they are torturers. It's not just experimental, it's torture. And this person finally recognized it. Like, was freedom worth?
You made me.
Was freedom worth it? Like,
the researcher paused. He aimed at the subject's heart and fired the final.
So there's one researcher
in the room
actually did care because he was trying to put people out of their misery.
You can take that. It's interesting because I didn't take it that way.
Oh,
so that's interesting. That's an interesting takeaway. So he shot him in the heart. The EEG flatlined as the subject weakly said his final words. "So nearly free."
Oh, no.
So, Brooke, that is the story of the Russian sleep experiment.
That's horrifying, but so interesting, Mindy. Thank you so much for sharing.
But I'm not done quite yet.
Oh, have I spoken out of turn? Let's go. Okay, let's hear it.
There's some debate whether this is true or not, or is it an urban legend?
Ooh.
So, if you don't know, have you ever heard of the term creepypasta? Of course. She rolls her eyes. She's like, "Mindy, come on. You are my best friend. You should know I know."
Yes, I know creepypasta.
Okay. So for our bestie who might not know the term, creepypasta is a term for horror-related stories that are shared on the internet to scare readers. So think ghosts, UFOs, crazy stories, encounters, paranormal.
Everything. It covers everything.
But the purpose is to be like urban legend, to promote and continue on stories, perhaps of things that may or may not be true. So according to one debunking site, they give it props. They said, "This is a great story, but we don't think it's true. But it is one of the most shocking and impactful urban legends of the internet age."
Let me interject briefly, and I know you might have more to say, but there was so much horror and experimentation done during World War II.
Right.
With the Soviet Union and Germany.
Of course.
That,
I mean, they were persecuting and gassing Jews, so this is not outside the realm of possibility.
Not just gassing, but like Mengele, Dr. Mengele, German, would do experiments on twins to see if one twin reacted if he cut off their leg to the other, and combining people, and just the most horrific experiments in modern times, I would say.
Yeah.
Horrifying. This was a time of
like no medical ethics at that time.
No, there was no Geneva Conventions or medical ethics. It was just horrifying experiments because there were horrifying people in the world.
And doing it on disenfranchised groups, like prisoners.
Prisoners,
like, they're not
right?
doing it like on their neighbor. They're doing it on someone who doesn't have family or is put like away from their family or is thought less of because they're not as human as they are.
Right.
Yeah,
it's horrifying. It's just horrifying.
So let me go back to the origins of the story.
Okay.
So this story first appeared August 10th of 2010. It was posted on the Creepypasta wiki page by a user called Orange Soda as their username.
I love that username. Orange Soda is delish.
Fanta for short.
It's like orange soda, grape soda, anything you can designate by a color. I like purple soda. I like orange soda. I like red soda.
I mean,
like
orange
blue
you're
soda.
lucky because it's like the flavor and the color.
Right. That's the only
soda.
one that is the flavor and the color. Everything else is like, I like blue. And you're like, well, what is blue? Is it blue raspberry?
Who knows? So that's when it was first posted that we can find of. So like I said, there's much online debate whether it's true or not. We know that other sleep deprivation stories exist. We've shared them on here. Oh, and here I did put in my notes. Episode 33, we talk about Randy Gardner, who is the world record holder for sleep deprivation.
30? Mindy, episode
I know,
33.
so many years ago.
Good God, you looked back.
And then episode 99, we talked about Peter Tripp and the Wake-a-thon DJ Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to read here, go back and hear more about sleep deprivation studies. So again, and I even have this in my notes. It proves the story is not out of the realm of possibilities, which makes it one of those urban legends that you can't really tell. Because according to this story, because so many researchers, soldiers died, the prisoners died, there was one person who escaped to maybe share this story. It's in the realm of possibility.
It is. It's okay. I know you don't watch horror movies, Mindy, but it's like the difference between Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. Like, Jason Voorhees is a kid that drowned because the camp counselors were having sex and not paying attention, and he became this superhuman thing. But Michael Myers, like, yes, later on he became this indestructible thing, but really at the point of it is he's an escaped mental patient.
Yes. Right.
That shit can happen.
Yeah.
Shit.
I mean, it's true. Like, and we read from these other episodes, like the Randy Gardner and Peter Tripp, that paranoia sets in. It is a true thing. And you're in a strange hypnotic state. So, again, not out of the realm of possibilities.
And then you introduce drugs to the mix that can only complicate things because you don't know how drugs are going to affect each individual.
Mm-hmm. And that brings up a good point because I put in my notes, many experts say that there's no scientific evidence that supports a claim that gas or any other chemical can be used to keep people awake. But however, in Russia, this is interesting. This is something I found. In Russia, they've always been interested in experimental sleep studies. As early as 1894, when there was this Russian physician and a scientist named Marie de Médecine, she did sleep studies on sleep-deprived puppies. Sorry, I know I'm going to get through this real quick.
Okay.
But pretty much the same thing. Keeping these puppies stimulated and awake for so long to the point where they would actually just implode and kill themselves and kill each other.
Mandy, you could have.
I didn't do it. This was Russia. I didn't do it. So
I don't like it.
And like you mentioned earlier, talking about war, we do know that cocaine and amphetamines were used in both world wars to keep soldiers awake during wartime, increasing their alertness and suppressing their appetite.
It's not just during World War I and World War II either. It still happens to this day. Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta ask, Brooke, what do you think? Is this real or is this urban legend?
Totally real.
Okay.
Totally real. I believe it 100% because it's horrifying. It was during a time in our history where things like that were happening, and I believe every bit of it. And it's hard, though, to not know what the gas specifically that was used because it could make a difference.
Right. And we don't know all the government secrets. We don't know what our own government does. Like, we know what secrets they have. Like, we're not privy to that information. So the fact that it's not known right now doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
No, but I believe something of this caliber could exist and has existed and probably still to this day exists, unfortunately.
Well, if you want to learn more about it, there are some books out there. I'm going to post some links in our show notes. One of them is called The Awakened Nightmare, The Russian Sleep Experiment by Marvin Collar. PBS has a special on it, and there's also a few really cool documentaries and some movies that were made out of it. So
Yeah.
there's always more to find out. If it's not real, it's a great story.
It is
But
a great story, and you have to kind of see
not
it for
great.
yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
If there's footage, like any kind of footage
Stories?
or
Supposedly,
firsthand.
it went so bad they destroyed all of it, which
So
I can understand it happening too.
Yes, all of it is
Yeah.
possible, and all of it is. Oh, sorry, it's all terrible.
It's all terrible. But what's not terrible is our time together. So what's new, Bestie?
Hi.
Let's move on from this horrible
Hi.
subject. How's life? How are you?
Life is great because I got to see your beautiful face in person
You did.
not so long ago. Mindy
you did.
surprised me by stopping by my parents' house for Sunday dinner.
I have not
so long
seen,
ago.
like I told them, I have not seen your parents since probably like 20 years, at least 20, 25
My
years.
parents or my parents' house?
No, your parents. I haven't seen your parents in a very long time. So it was nice.
Wow.
I was in the neighborhood, decided to stop by. I was back in town doing
Yes.
some things. So
It was great.
I
because
crashed the party.
She crashed the party. We were just having a little dinner out on the porch, which I didn't even realize didn't even exist during Mindy times.
No, the porch wasn't there.
We just had a cement slab, but now my parents have like a 3 seasons
Like a
room.
s-
It's a
yeah, like a
screened-in
screened-in-
porch
it's
with
nice.
a deck.
beautiful.
And Mindy and I went all around the house.
I had to see the whole house.
The
again,
whole
so
house. We had to
it's been a
see the
minute.
dining room where we had our special party, which we can explain later. We went upstairs to my old bedroom where we tried seances and made prank phone calls. It was great.
Mhm.
It was great. I didn't realize she hadn't been there in so long.
No.
So, wow.
And then one of the things I thought was so funny is when I walked into your bedroom, I was like, my God, this seems so much bigger when we were 15 years old.
Yeah, it's a tiny.
It's so tiny.
It's so tiny. It's so tiny, but we had all the space we needed to do
Yeah.
our things. And I must also mention, because not only did my mom say it specifically to Mindy that night, but she has not stopped saying it since, that Mindy is her favorite and she loves Mindy more than me. And I think
Stop it. That is not true. You know that.
she used those words, I think, as a joke, but I
You were a little
she
hurt?
means it.
Oh, no. I can be second. I can be I'm pretty much her second daughter. I mean, I always thought of that. Of
I
your
call
parents.
your parents Mama and Papa.
I call your parents Mama and Daddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
do.
So it happened, but
I got some hugs.
yep.
That was the best. Well, I had a couple weeks ago, and I haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. Other than my trip to visit, our hometown and see your family. A few weeks ago, Mark and I did a camping trip.
Wait, what?
I have not even told you about this. I told you we were
Okay.
going, right?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So we went to Devil's Lake, which is in Wisconsin.
Devil's Lake, Mindy.
I know, me and these lakes lately. I know.
I'm not happy
Devil's
with you. I'm
Lake.
not happy with your choices.
Sorry, it's not called Sunshine and Rainbow Lake, but
I wish it were.
it's funny. So I grew up camping. Mark, has, but he's less so. I mean, first of all, he's not a Virgo. Second of all, he didn't know the amount of time and effort and organization that comes along with planning for camping on a site that doesn't have electricity or running water.
I will
So we're
tell
roughing
you,
it.
Mindy did send me a spreadsheet
I did show you my spreadsheet.
of her planning of this trip. And I was like,
Thorough.
it was A+. It was an
Thank
A+
you.
spreadsheet if I had to grade you.
If
it had
anyone needs a camping list, let me know. I'll be happy to
Everything
send
you
it
would
your way.
possibly need. Boom, boom, boom. She had a spreadsheet.
Organized by bin.
It was
There's the food bin,
perfect.
there's the kitchen bin, there's the gear bin.
There's more bins than you could ever imagine.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was like a rustic site. So we got up there on Friday. We were just spending 2 nights. Our
Yeah.
goal was just really to disconnect
I love it.
from our phones.
It's so hard
Other
to
than-
do.
Texting the kids goodnight. It was just us hanging out, talking. I mean, we used our phones for playing music around the campfire.
Not
I
allowed.
know. Mark's like, I should have brought my guitar. I'm like, you could have brought your guitar. Like,
Oh,
it
that
would have been classic.
lovely.
But
oh.
I will say we did cheat a little bit. We did get like a battery generator so we could blow up our air mattress. Because we
Mindy,
are getting old.
you have to cheat a little
I
bit
know.
when you're camping.
And to charge our phones. So other than that,
it's allowed.
yeah, we just hung out. We talked a lot. And our goal was just to do that. And then we wanted to do a hike. So, Brooke, you wouldn't believe this hike. It was exhausting, but fun.
You know I wouldn't believe this hike because I would never go on.
You were there with me in spirit. I'll post some pictures.
I'm always with you in spirit, but not necessarily physically.
She's like, first of all, you said camping, I'm out. You said the name of the lake was Devil's Lake, also out. And then you mentioned hiking.
This isn't going well in my head.
As much as we are similar, we are very different people.
We are.
So no, we decided to do a hike. And so this is a lake. It's kind of circular, oval, and it's got a very large elevation change.
Okay.
So we decided our goal was to hike around the whole lake. Hike around the lake. Now, from what I read, like I was using like the All Trails app, it was about
there's an
5
All
miles.
Trails app.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says 5 miles, and we've walked 5 miles before, so I'm like, no big deal. We pack
the wilderness, Mindy.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
The trails are well laid out. Like part of them are concrete, some are just
so they're well maintained.
Rocks. Yeah, it's not like you just don't know where you're going.
Okay.
So we figured it would take the day, which was fine. Our plan was to get back in time to cook some like huge steaks because we were going to deserve it. We pack a cooler.
You'd be starving.
Yes, we were. We had like a backpack cooler. We packed a lunch, some waters, just things you might need, Band-Aids, things like that. So we start our hike. We go to the trailhead because from the trailhead it was supposed to be 5 miles. Mark's like, I don't want to drive to the trailhead. If we're going to hike, we're going to hike from our camp spot. So that added an extra probably 2 miles on.
Jesus! You're like, just drive us to the trailhead.
Which I'm like, if he's in for it, I'm game. Like, let's do it.
Oh, I hate this story already.
We ended up hiking 13 miles.
5-mile trail? You ended up hiking 13?
Yes. Yeah.
Mindy.
It was beautiful. We had a great time.
That's
the views
all that
were
matters,
stunning. We enjoyed our little picnic lunch. We were exhausted. I was really worried about how I was going to feel the next day, other than like full from that giant steak dinner. But the one thing I noticed was sore was my ankles.
Huh.
Like, I just think because it was so, like, rocky and not even, it's not walking on a sidewalk.
It was legit hiking, huh?
It was like hiking. So, like, my ankles were sore.
Can I interrupt and ask what kind of steak did you have? Did you have filet or what?
We did, I think, a huge porterhouse.
Oh.
So I had the filet part and Mark had the, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's delicious.
I love it.
But the other thing is like, we had, like, a camping stove that we brought with us. And we tried it out because it was something that Mark's mom had given us years ago.
Sure.
We tried it out before we left. Worked perfectly. Got to the campsite. Didn't work. So I had to make a Walmart run at some point just so we have breakfast and like lunch covered other than the campfire. But it was lovely. I really enjoyed spending that time with Mark. I felt like it was just, I don't know how to explain it. It was so nice just to be together and just chat about whatever. Not have anything to worry about except for not falling off a cliff. And
that's kind of a big thing, but I totally get it because sometimes being unplugged requires you to have no choice in the matter.
Yeah.
Like, I've had to be unplugged in international situations, but it's almost so relieving that you don't have to worry about anything other than what you're doing, and it makes you so much more present.
Yeah. I think we're going to do it again this fall. Hopefully, we're going to stay closer to home. We're going to go to Starved Rock.
I've heard of Starved Rock.
Okay. Does that one scare you as much as Devil's Lake?
No, it doesn't
Starved
scare
Rock's
me as
okay?
much. Yes, Starved Rock's okay.
So hopefully we'll be able to do some fall hiking and see some trees.
Oh, good. I
think
that.
Mark liked it enough that he wants to camp again. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. Good job.
Yeah. Exciting times.
Okay, Bestie. Until next week, please, please, please stay away from any sleep studies or otherwise.
Especially the ones that are Deadly.
and include toxic gas.
And where you don't have a choice in the matter. Stay away
and
from
you
those
don't have a
ones.
choice in the matter. Because I've done a sleep study. Okay, that's fine. But please, with the drugs and everything else, please stay away from any sleep studies. And sweet dreams, bitches.
I'm kind of tired. I'm not gonna lie.